Good morning and welcome to Whitney in the Wild. I am Whitney, and join with me this morning is Derek Griffin.
Good morning.
You're kind of a celebrity around here.
Not quite, but I'm working on it.
So Derek is president of Spiritec, and last week I had Jeff Lovejoy of Action Coach. The relation to all that is we're all in ABGT together, which is our networking group. It is a great group. So that's how I met Derek. Derek, where he's a standout though, is like you're on like the $1 million board of sending business and just being an all around cool cat.
Know how to make introductions to the right people.
Yeah, that's great though. So I want to get in first to what you do at Spiritec and what Spiritec does, and then maybe you can share a connection secret.
Okay.
Not all of them. I won't make you share all your secrets,
No
but
problem.
maybe one. So tell me about Spiritec.
So Spiritec's a 21-year-old technology company, and while there are a lot of e-commerce solutions out there, our platform really focuses on B2B e-commerce or business to business. We're really the only platform that was built from the ground up to meet the more specific needs of a company that sells wholesale or sells through distribution. Most of our clients are, I would say, small businesses, like closely held businesses, and we automate their sales channel so that the orders that come in, whether it's after a trade show or just repeat business orders, come through the website, but also get integrated directly into their accounting or ERP or order management systems. So it really is a better solution for their end customer, but it also saves them money on the operational side because we automate some of the administration.
Okay. So let's take that deeper and look at how that's different from like a regular website, right? Because a lot of our listeners may be like, oh yeah, I've got a website, it's no problem. Or maybe it redirects somewhere else. So tell me how like what you do for your customers is different.
And I'll contrast it. So somebody who's selling to consumers, Shopify, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, there's some options there that are really geared, especially Shopify, geared towards consumer shopping. For our customers that are selling wholesale, they may not sell at all to the general public. So you may go to the website and see the products, but you don't see any pricing until you log in, and you can't log in until you register as an approved reseller or business buyer. And then when you log in, who you are may dictate what price you see. So larger customers may get a bigger discount. Brand new customers get basically list wholesale price. There may be quantity rules, meaning you have to buy everything in a case, even though it's priced individually, and even quantity discounts. So if you buy 48 or 96 or 144 or 288, the more you buy, the cheaper the price is for that particular order. So those are some of the differences that our platform does really well that you don't really get with a consumer-targeted e-commerce platform.
Okay. And how does a customer of yours know that they need your solution? Like, is there a threshold that they pass where they're like, wow, we need a more customized option?
If they're selling wholesale, they need us, period, even if they're small. We do run into a lot of companies, like for example, this weekend is America's Mart, really the largest gift show in the U.S., and it's here in Atlanta. We have a booth there, and we meet and greet. We have a lot of customers that are in town for that show, but then we meet other exhibitors, and we can quickly understand that when they tell us what they're trying to do, and then they hit roadblocks and can't do it, that those are things our platform does just because with a configuration option, no real custom development required.
Yeah. Do you have areas of sweet spots? Like I know gifting, but...
The gift industry is, I would say, a sweet spot because we have so many customers in that world. We're also pretty strong in the industrial market, whether it's tools, screws, wrenches, you name it. That industrial market sells in a similar way, but it's more to distributors than retailers. And then in the promotional product world, whether it's a supplier to promotional product distributors or promotional product distributors that have large corporate accounts, like a franchise of a restaurant chain, something like that, where there's hundreds of locations and every location needs to order uniforms or swag or printed material, whatever it might be. We can build, we'll call it niche websites just for the audience of that company.
Yeah. Okay. So I kind of joked at the beginning of the show that you're just all around cool person, but you are. So you have Spiritec.
Yes.
And then you have the Orlando that I want you to tell us about.
Okay.
And because I was telling Derek, I was like, I have like your form, and this is great, and then I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions that I'm not going to tell you, because like what I don't know about you is your background of like, how did Spiritec get started? Like, because you embody the entrepreneurial spirit, and so I'm also curious, like. It is a little bit, but like, is that in your family background, or were you like, I'm going to set out and blaze a trail? So tell us how all this got started.
It was probably a little bit in my dad's background.
Okay.
He was part of ran basically a family business.
Yeah.
And I saw his work ethic, and that sort of guided me on the path that I'm still on, I guess.
Yeah. What was his family business?
It was an auto dealership.
Okay.
So a Chrysler dealership.
Were you out selling cars when you were like 15?
No, I was washing them. So I have
Wow.
5 brothers.
Worse
We
than
would all
that.
show up on Saturday, and the older brothers would drive the cars, and the little rugrats like me would wash cars just all day Saturday.
Wow.
That was part of the drill. So teaching your kids to work early is something that I think is important. I do the same thing to my son.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that 100%. So family business, and then you kind of saw that growing up, and then how did that lead to Spiritec? Like, what were you doing before? And then you were like,
my degree is in accounting, and I came out of college and went pretty much straight into public accounting,
Okay.
which has significantly helped the business I have now, because all of my accounting work was with closely held small businesses, and I did more on the financial side, a little bit on the tax side, but mostly on the finance side.
okay.
So all of that experience helps me talk to business owners and understand how their business runs.
Yeah.
Because I've seen so many different ways that people do business. It's easy for me to grasp what somebody does. And it's also easy for me to talk about how we can connect the dots between website orders and their accounting or ERP system.
Okay. So you were like that connection, and then one day you were like, I'm going to go out and do my own thing.
So I had been in public accounting for 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
I left that and became the CFO of a $20 million manufacturing company.
Wow. Okay.
I was 27 at the time.
Wow. Good for you.
I was there for a few years, and then me and a couple of other guys, they were in a technology firm that had gone public, and they were basically option zombies, waiting for their options to vest so they could cash out and have a bunch of money.
Yeah.
So January 2000, we all quit our jobs, put money in, and started this, and started building basically a platform. It took a while, because starting a business in 2000 during the dot-bomb era was probably horrible timing, but we were fortunate enough and blessed to stay alive. We kind of limped along for a while. I think it was 2005 when, it really took 5 years before we were like, okay, I think we're going to make it.
Yeah.
And then we started growing at like 30% a year for a while.
Wow.
And the getting into the wholesale world and in finding kind of our lane was critical in that.
It's kind of like that overnight success quote, right? Like, it's an overnight success that took 5 years.
Yes.
5 years in the making.
And it's only because we worked overnight all the time.
Of course, yeah. Well, of course. Well, yeah. Which, if you're a regular listener to the show, which you all are, of course, you've heard my story of like how when Isaac and I first started our business, we stayed at our office. Have I told you?
No.
Okay. We stayed at our office. Well, we had a house. Everyone's like, were you homeless? Like, no, we had a home. It was just it felt like the complete opposite side of Georgia. And so we were working really late, and then we had to be back really early the next morning to like start again and do recordings. And so when we got the office space, we're not there anymore, so don't tell the landlord, but we had a fold-out couch from IKEA that turned into a bed. And we got a membership to Planet Fitness, where we would go work out, treadmill for like 15 minutes, and then take showers.
Yeah, perfect.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do
Yeah.
to make it work. Yeah, it was kind of rough. It's funny looking back at it now, what all you did, but
it's all worth it.
It really is. And it's funny, that you're saying it was bad timing, because you kind of look, I think back to when we started the business, and I was way more scared than Isaac. Like, Isaac is fearless, right? In my eyes. I was scared. I'm going through my checklist and like, how are we going to do this? What about this? It's always a bad time. It is always a bad time. And you put in so much work and you're like, this is not, what have I done? I left this job. We're taking showers at Planet Fitness. What the heck is going on? And then all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, I think this is going to be okay.
It turned out okay.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. As we look at this gorgeous view. Okay, so Spiritec is successful. Fast forward some years, and now you have a building that you own called the Orlando.
Yes.
And you rent space to small business.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
So tell us about that. Like, what made you want to own your own space and really help small businesses? And then I do want you to share behind the name.
Sure. So in 2013, Spiritec, we bought a building, and it was in kind of the Midtown West area. And the market value there had gone up a decent amount. So we get to fast forward to 2020, and there was a pretty big development going on around us. And I don't know if anybody's seen the movie Up, but I did not want to be the little old man in a little house left with high rises. So
yeah.
The developer politely asked us to leave and compensated us to do so. And I live in Marietta. I was kind of tired of driving downtown. The traffic was just getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And then, to be honest, the crime in Atlanta was getting worse. So I was able to take, basically, once we sold that building, and roll that into a building that some of my ABGT fellow members helped me close on. So it was an older building, 1986, I think, is when it was built. But we renovated it, and especially on the interior side, converted it to, it was basically a 13,000 square foot single tenant building, meaning there was only one business in it. So we changed the floor plan around, not dramatically, but basically built it out for multiple suites. So now I have 8 suites in the building and 7 individual offices, and I'm 100% leased. I did want to come up with sort of a brand for the building. I've got a marquee sign out front, and I wanted it to be truly a home for small business, so that if somebody is a small business owner and we're just chatting at the water cooler, I can maybe help them, give them advice, give them recommendations of fellow ABGT members that will help them do whatever they need to do in their business. I think Jared, I know, who does insurance with our group, he's helped several of my tenants. So, but as I was trying to come up with a name, a couple of things popped in, went through my head, and then my dad's middle name, Orlando, popped in. I'm like, done. So that's it's a bit of a tribute to him, because everything that I am as a business owner, how I treat people, as a dad, that really came from my dad. So it felt right, and I love seeing his name on the building when I drive in every day.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the building looks great. We got the opportunity to come by and hang out. It looks amazing. Like if you go back through the pictures, it's like stepping from 1980 to 2020.
Yeah, having the before and after pictures really does help tell the story a little bit.
Yeah, and that's interesting too because I feel like we really returned to kind of like this mix in office and working from home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't really know that we're ever going to be back in offices 100%, but I find that it's fantastic that you're 100% space is filled because, even your single person offices, that may be, the solopreneur that was tired of working at the kitchen counter and they were like, I got to get out of here and get a space.
One guy specifically said, I have a 2-year-old at home. I can't get anything done. I have got to have a place to escape.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. So, well, sorry, everyone. He's 100% booked. I was going to be like, you got any spaces left? Because I think you were building some single offices last time I saw.
Those are also leased out, and the doors aren't even in them yet.
That's awesome.
So
that is so cool.
That's worked out really well.
Yeah. So coming back to that, because I feel like that speaks to your ability to be a connector. And so give us that one tip. Again, you don't have to give all your tips, all your secrets away, but what do you feel is one key to being a really good connector?
Listening. And it's having a conversation with somebody and finding out what pain points that they have. And if they mention one, dive in a little bit deeper to find out what that pain point is. And then if you've got somebody in your network that is really good at solving that problem, just make the connection. And I don't just send a blind email and go, okay, I'm connecting the two of you. I actually ask permission first.
Yes, you do.
Both with my customer, I'm like, hey, listen, I know somebody who can help you. Are you okay if I do the introduction? And then I'll give the person I'm going to refer them to a heads up and explain who this is and what their needs are. So by the time I do the mutual introduction email, both parties know exactly what's going on and they know how to respond.
Yeah, that's great.
So I'm not hitting them blind.
Yeah, that's great. Well, and that's where, like in ABGT, I referenced, you're high on both boards, both the receiving and the giving. And I feel like they go hand in hand, right? Because you're a good listener, because you're willing to connect others in the right way, I feel like that comes back to you in spades, right?
It does, but I'm always higher on the referral side.
Yes.
Which is completely okay because I'm not giving the referral so I can get something back. I'm
right.
giving the referral to help that person. And karma, whatever, it'll come back to me. Right. It doesn't have to equal out because it's not really supposed to.
Yeah. Well, I do think that shows. I mean, again, once you're listening and you hear the person and, the roadblock that they've hit and you're willing to refer to someone that does a good job to them, they're willing to do it.
Sure. Back
to you. And I with you, I feel like you can sense that like, hey, this is a connection. I'm not looking for anything in return, but if it works out for you, that's awesome. Like, take the win.
To your point, I'm not looking for anything in return. Mm-hmm. This is a pet peeve of mine. I've got certain people who will, whether they're related businesses, but they're like, hey, listen, when you get that project, could you just put like 10% for me on there? I'm like, really? Just do what's right for your customer, not always for yourself.
Yep.
Yes. That irritates me.
Yeah. Well, yes, I would see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, and I'm in marketing, so I can say this, like the people who want to connect with you on LinkedIn, and their first thing is an offer about how they can help you. I'm like, you don't even know me yet. We haven't even connected. We've done nothing, and you're trying to send me an offer in your connection.
Yeah.
I'm not connecting with you.
Yeah.
Just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, those get ignored.
100%, even from me.
Yeah.
Okay, so then your national parks, you travel all over the place. And then you have all these awesome pictures, and then everyone in ABGT is like, So tell us, like, how did that come about? Like your passion for traveling and national parks and.
It probably came about somewhat connected to some of the trade shows I go to.
Okay.
So one of the shows that I do is really the market it serves is the souvenir market.
Okay.
So the buyers that come to the show are often museum and national park kind of buyers. So I got sort of interested, and then it's probably 12 years ago maybe, I decided to go visit one. So I went to Yosemite, great place to start. And then about a year after that, this is 2012, I think, I planned a spring break trip with my two kids. We'd always gone to the beach, just sit, and it's boring. I know the beach is great for a lot of people, but there's only so much time you can just sit and stare at the waves. I needed to be moving. So I did a spring break trip. We flew into Vegas. We went immediately into Utah, and we did Zion, Bryce, and then the Grand Canyon. And with a 12-year-old and a 7-year-old, I hiked 40 miles in 6 days. And by day 3, they said, "Dad, this is the best spring break ever." So
Nice.
I was hooked. My son hasn't stayed as hooked as my daughter. So every year, me and my daughter, who's now 21 and soon to be a senior in college, we take a different national park trip every summer. Sometimes it's just one park, sometimes it's 2. But I'm up to 21 or 22 national parks. But in about 3 weeks, I'm going to Alaska, and that's the bucket list trip. So I've been planning this one for about a year.
Wow.
And me and my daughter are going, and we're hitting 4 different national parks and doing a bunch of adventures and a bunch of hiking, and it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask what was one of your favorite travels, but maybe we should hold that question until you're back from Alaska, because that may be the top pick.
I would say if I had to pick 3 top national parks of the ones I've been to,
Yeah.
Yosemite's pretty amazing because I've hiked Half Dome. That's a pretty big accomplishment. Glacier National Park in Montana is just unbelievably beautiful. And Ted from our group is actually biking there this week.
Wow.
And then North Cascades, which is a more obscure one, it's in Washington State on the border of Canada. So you can hike and see like Mount Baker, but also the Canadian Rockies.
Oh, wow.
Once you get to a certain level. And I think because it's less visited and there's not as many people, it's a really cool park. And it's just rugged and beautiful.
Yeah. So when you hike, do you like hike a certain like length and then you stop and you set up camp and then you continue on, or?
I'm not a backpack.
Okay.
I don't typically camp. I'm not opposed to it, but if I'm hiking 10 miles and doing 3,000 feet of elevation gain, which is like 6 times Stone Mountain, for reference, I need a shower and a bed.
Yep.
I need to recover and get some Advil and then do it again the next day.
Okay. I feel like that's because I like the idea. Like I've always wanted to go to Montana and I don't know, Colorado and mountainy and plains and just somewhere like that. And then I think to myself, yeah, but I really like running water.
Yeah.
And for it to be hot water.
Yeah. So recovery and going back out the next day is great. And we typically do an Airbnb or
cool.
Maybe depending on if there's like a small town, outside the entrance to a park, we might stay in a hotel. It really just depends.
Okay, cool. Is there anything you like bring back or a ritual that you have or a keepsake from each park? So like, for example, I've got a friend and she her husband do this. And each park that they've been to, they bring home the like old time tin, like posters, and they've got a room where they've hung all, and she's got like a whole wall full of all these different places that they've been, and I'm like, that's really cool.
So kind of 2 things. If I can find a T-shirt I like, and I'm a bit of a T-shirt snob, so I won't just buy one to buy one, but if I find one that I like the design and the actual shirt quality, I'll get that. And then I actually have a client that sells, it's called Tourist Courts, which is a weird name, but they have those tins, wall posters, stickers,
Cool.
coasters, magnets. They got, all that kind of stuff. So for every park I've been to, I have this badge emblem sticker, and they're not on the back of my car, they're on my bike rack. So also mountain bike. So
Okay, cool.
I line them up. So, but they only make their way onto the bike rack after I've been there and hiked. It can't be a drive-through. It can't be one I want to go to. It has to be there. We
Okay,
also
cool.
have magnets on the sticker in the office, and all the ones I've been to are on the top of the fridge.
Okay, cool. That's really cool. Yeah, just having like a little thing that like after you conquer it or do the trip, do the hike, that's really neat. Okay.
And it's cool if you're, walking around in Home Depot one day and you see somebody with a T-shirt of a park you've been to, you immediately remember, oh man, it just brings a smile to your heart because the memories of all those different places are, all great.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, well, now I gotta go book a trip somewhere. It's
I
time.
can be your travel guide.
That would
Just
be.
let me know.
I am all about it. I feel like Glacier. What did you say?
Glacier National Park
Yep.
in Montana, but do not go in the summer.
Okay. Really
it's-
hot.
No. It's just a lot of people.
Okay,
Because
that
people
makes
are doing
sense.
summer vacations.
Yeah.
Right now, they're having to literally meter people, and you have to get permits to get into the entrance.
Wow.
But I would say September, October, late enough so it's not as crowded, but not before it starts snowing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, we're all ready to get out. I feel like that's me. I'm like ready to get out and go somewhere.
Yeah, the national parks have been super, super busy
Yeah.
this year,
Nice.
this summer.
Well, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Absolutely. Thank
on
you
the
for
show.
having me.
If someone has heard this and they know, oh my gosh, I need Spiritec, how do they get in touch with you?
So Spiritec is Spear, the word Spear and Tech, T-E-K, so spiritec.com. There's a Get Started button in the top right. So you can either chat with us, you can just fill out a form. It'll actually go straight to me, and I'll reach out and we'll start a conversation.
Awesome. Derek Griffin, Spiritec, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time on Whitney in the Wild.